Holla! What's going on, guys? You okay? It's Preachy! What are we doing today? You guys have been waiting forever for this one. Absolutely forever. It's the Enhancement Shaman guide, my friends. I have been putting this off for a number of reasons. One, I leveled from 70 to 80 as Elemental. I had 0 enhancement gear, and when I say 0, I mean absolutely 0. Not one item for any slot. Ooh, that made it difficult. I made it hard on the Preacher Man, but I've done what I can. I've done exactly what I can. This is Bang, EU Sylvanas. We're going to be using the full Monty. We're going to be doing talents. We're going to be doing glyphs. We're going to do a reforging. We're going to do our gemming. And then we're going to look at our heroic demonstrations to show you guys what you should be doing. Yeah. Okay, guys, so that's exactly what we're going to be doing. Let's talk a little bit about why I put this off for a little while. I'm just going to come out and say it. Preacher does not like to lie to you on any circumstance at all. I do not like this spec. I don't like it. I think Blizzard have ruined it. I think it's particularly obtuse. By obtuse, I mean it's fidgety. It's clumsy, it requires far too much concentration from the player while they're doing all sorts of other stuff. I just think in general it's boring to achieve what is considered to be subpar DPS overall for Enhancement Shaman. Nothing wrong with the DPS particularly, but for the effort you have to put in to get it, I think it's particularly annoying. Let's talk about it. Boom, let's get into it. Enhancement Shaman. As I said, I did not have a single item, a speck of gear, so I have bought items like this one. This 306 green item off the auction house. 306 green braces. I have mixed that in with some stuff from Rep. An item I picked up in ZG while DPSing. Some boots I managed to get. Some Headless Horseman gear. I built his alchemy trinket. I bought the Fluid Death. I got this from Badges. I bought these. It was like 200 gold on the auction house for epic items. Yeah, baby. Not too shabby. But you can see I have the healer cloak. I have healer shoulders and I have a healer neck. I just could not get items to fit those slots in the time allotted, unfortunately. Maybe we'll get them in our heroic run, guys. Brofist with me if you think you're going to get it. Oh yeah, feel the love. Reforging, what are our stats? Agility. Agility, 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 agility. We need agility male items. We are going to be raping our hunters for all that good stuff. When hunters see items drop and we've got Enhancement Shaman in the raid, we're going to say, haha, mine too, buddy. Get your hands off it. We want male agility items. That's what we want. We want male agi items. Gimme, 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 gimme. What are our primary stats, I hear you say? You need to have open your melee window and your spell window. On the paper, on our piece of paper and our guide of when we're looking at what class to play, we look at our Enhancement Shaman and you might be thinking to yourself, coming from another RPG or something like that, I quite like the idea of being melee, but I like spell casting as well. I like the fact that I can heal myself. I like all that good stuff. And Enhancement Shaman, on the face of it, sounds perfect. We're going to be casting a lot of spells. We're going to be casting lightning bolts, chain lightnings, our flame shocks, our earth shocks, all this good stuff, all spells, okay? So we want our spells to hit. So your primary stat when it comes to reforging is going to be your hit chance. We need 17% hit chance to hit a raid boss, okay guys? 17%. So if you're doing Barradin Hold and all that good stuff and any sort of raid, you want 17% chance to hit so all your spells make contact. That's what we want. As you can see, I've managed to get to 15% on this guy. Nothing too wrong with that. That's reforging everything I possibly can towards hit. That's how I've managed to get there. And then your next stat is going to be expertise. We want our melee hits to be making contact because that's going to buff up our maelstrom weapon, which we'll talk about later. So I can see I've got very low expertise, just no room for it on this gear. I haven't had the chance to sort of cherry pick items. When I say cherry pick the item, I might have a couple of male agi items and one's got expertise, one's got, say, crit and mastery or whatever. I haven't had to say, well, I need the expertise, and all my reforging's gone towards hit because our spells are our primary source of damage, okay guys? You guys want to be aiming for 26 expertise to hit your raid boss. You want to be getting that 26 expertise. That's going to give you 6% total expertise. 6% means you will no longer be dodged. Obviously, mobs cannot parry from the front, and as a melee class, we DPS from behind always to stop being parried. We don't like parry because that means we're not doing damage. And we want 6% chance to be not dodged. That's what we want. And that is 26 expertise. In this window, it should say 26. Okay, guys, that's what you're aiming for. Then what comes next? We've got our choice of obviously mastery, crit, and haste. Those are our general 3 stats that we want to be sorting out. What do we want to do? What's our worst stat? This is always the easiest way to think about your reforging. What's our worst stat when we come to reforging item? Haste. Get rid of your haste. Haste is the worst of the worst of the worst. Get rid of your haste as much as possible. Get rid of it. If you see an item with haste on, that is your first go-to. You go, okay, I can reforge that haste away straight away. Your next worst stat is crit. And what is our juicy stat that we're primarily trying to buff up? That is our mastery. We want our mastery. And why? Let's have a look. Enhanced elements increase all fire, frost and nature damage by 30%. Each point of mastery increases that damage by an additional 2.5%. And I just said, most of our damage comes from spells. These spells are fire-based. They are nature-based. We want that mastery. Buff your mastery up. Yum, 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 yum. We need it. Get your mastery up. Get rid of your haste. Get rid of crit. If it's a choice between sort of crit and mastery, you get rid of the crit. Okay, guys? That's what you're thinking. So if you need some hit, you've got a crit mastery item, get rid of the crit and get some hits. Easy. Leave your mastery alone in that case. Dead easy. Let's have a quick overview to see what I've been doing here. As you can see, I had a crit haste rating pair of gloves, which are totally awesome. 306 item level. Lol. That haste has got to go and buff your hit up. We had some haste crit items here. As you can see, these are not ideal for Enhancement Shaman by any means. We got rid of the haste again and got some hits. That's what I've been doing, and that's what you guys should be doing too, with obviously better items than what this chap happens to have. Very easy. Gemming. What are we gemming? Agility. As I said before, agility is your primary stat, okay? You cannot reforge for agility, and you need agility as much of it as possible. In terms of the stuff such as hit, expertise, and all that, they are way below the power of agility. Agility. You need more agility. It's so powerful, guys. When you come to your gemming, if that item does not have a set bonus, which is 20 agility or higher, this is a general rule, then you will always gem pure agility. If we look at our belt there, a 10 crit strike rating, whatever, pure agility in there, and obviously add a belt buckle so you get another 40 agility on it. If we look at our chest here, the cuirass of radiant elements, we have a 20 agi bonus. That is the only time in these circumstances where we will use a combined gem, and by that I mean a mixed gem. If we were to gem two pure agi gems into there, that would be a total of 80 agility. If we were to put an agility gem in the red socket and put an agi hit gem in the blue socket, we would still have 80 agility and we would gain some 20 hit. Lovely! We've just gained 20 hit. We haven't lost anything. That's all you need to think about in your mind. Very, very easy. Look, just generally work out, will I get more agility by gemming pure agility, or will I get more agility by gemming agility and a mixed gem, or will I get the same? Think about that, and if it's the same, then go ahead and use the mixed gem. If you'll gain more agility by gemming pure agility, then use pure agility. Dead easy. Easy stuff. Okay, guys, that's your reforging, that's your gemming. Get as much agility out as your gemming as humanly possible. Always thinking, how can I get more agility? That's what you need to be thinking. And then get your hit up, get your expertise up, and then get your mastery up. Haste is the worst stat. Crit is somewhere in between. Okay, guys, get some crit if you need to, just to get rid of some haste. Not an issue, really. Get rid of that stuff. Let's look at our talents. Oh, enhancement time! I love the talents in here. I just wish this spec played better. That's all I ask for. I'm not saying I detest it that much. I just wish it played better. We imbue our weapons as an Enhancement Shaman. Obviously, in Shaman's glorified ability is to imbue our weapons. That means enchant them. On our main hand, we want Wind Fury Weapon. Wind Fury Weapon grants us the chance to, when we hit something, to smash them in the face 2 more times with whatever weapon we are wielding. And don't we all like the opportunity to smash things in the face more and more? Yeah, that's how ballers roll. It increases our bro fist exponentially. In our offhand, we want Flame Tongue Weapon on our other weapon. Why do we want that? Because Flame Tongue Weapon buffs our spells. Yeah, and we're going to be casting a lot of spells. So our first talent is amazing. Look at all this good stuff we get from elemental weapons. Increase the passive bonuses of our Flame Tongue Weapon. Awesome. We're using that. And the damage of your extra attacks from Wind Fury Weapon by another 40%. Awesome. And 3 hands. Yeah. And the effectiveness of your ongoing benefits of your Unleash Elements by 50%. We're going to be using Unleash Elements a lot. Yes, we are. We're going to be using it on cooldown for our Enhancement Shaman. Good stuff. Focus Strikes, a flat 45% damage to our Storm Strike. Good stuff. Light Improved Shields. We use Lightning Shield. Let's see it. Boop. Lightning Shields. We use Lightning Shields a lot as an Enhancement Shaman. You don't want to be using Water Shield or anything like that, and we'll get into that. Why? We take 2 out of 3 of here to buff the damage done by our Lightning Shield orbs by 10%. Elemental Devastation. Lovely name. When you deal critical strike damage with a non-periodic spell, Flame Shark, your chance to get a critical strike with melee attacks increases by 9%. So you can already see why crit has been massively devalued by that. It's only on our melee attacks, doesn't count towards spells. Bear that in mind. That's why crit is slightly higher than haste. Flurry. Increase your attack speed by 30% for your next 3 swings after dealing a critical strike. So we get a flat, big amount of haste. 30% haste is enormous. 30% attack speed. Yes. Lovely. Ancestral Swiftness. This is going to turn us into a Ghost Wolf instantly. Instant Ghost Wolf power. Awesome. Really good. And increases movement speed by 15%. And we want movement speed as a melee class. I say this in every guide. It's not up for discussion under any means. It doesn't matter if you might gain 10 more haste from a boot enchant. If you can't get it through talents, it doesn't matter. Get your melee speed upgrade. It is a bigger DPS boost. Simple. Storm Strike. Our first major DPS ability. Instantly strike with both weapons. Lovely. Smash them in the double face. So it's a whammy whammy. It's a double bro fist right in their face. And granting you an additional 35% chance to critically strike with Lightning Bolt, Chain Lightning, Lightning Shield, and Earth Shock. We're going to be using all those things. So you want to get that Storm Strike up. 15-second buff. Lovely jubbly. It's only got an 8-second cooldown, so we'll have that buff up all the time. Yeah. Static Shock. This is why we need Lightning Shield, guys. When you use your Primal Strike, Storm Strike, or Lava Lash abilities, you have a Lightning Shield active. You have a 45% chance to deal damage equal to a Lightning Shield charge. Good stuff, without consuming a charge, so our Lightning Shield will stay on for the duration of the fight. Just make sure to refresh it every now and again, because it is only on a 10-minute cooldown. Long fights like Ragnar's Heroic, you're going to have to refresh Lightning Shield at some point. Searing Flames. This is where it gets annoying. Searing Totem, as you may know, attacks targets that have Flame Shock on them, okay? So, Searing Totem is... This actual chain here is what really annoys me about the Enhancement Shaman, because this buffs our damage so incredibly that to rely on the Totem annoys me. Cause your Searing Bolts from your Searing Totem to have a 100% chance to set the targets aflame. Dealing damage equal to the Searing Bolt's impact damage over 15 seconds stacks up to 5 times. Now you're thinking to yourself on the face of it, if you've never played this class, that doesn't sound like that much preachy. Searing Totem doesn't do that much damage. It does decent damage, stacking up to 5 times. It's pretty good constant rolling damage. This is where the problem comes in. Look how many buffs Lava Lash gets in our tree. Let's read this one talent. Increase the damage of your Lava Lash ability by 30%. Awesome. Great. And by an additional 20% per stack of Searing Flames. And that stacks 5 times. That's a 100% damage buff to Lava Lash. This turns Lava Lash into the face-melting, house-crushing, freight train-riding beast that Lava Lash is, okay? Lava Lash has just become, because of this talent, the hardest hitting ability in your Enhancement Shaman's arsenal. If that target has 5 stacks of Searing Flames up and you Lava Lash it, it is going to hit like a truck. An absolute truck. Lava Lash gets a lot of buffs, and from a glyph, which we'll get to later. Shamanistic Rage. Reduce all damage taken by 30% and cause your skills, totems, and offensive spells to consume no mana. Great stuff. One, it's a major shield wall for us, okay? 30% damage reduction. If we got some big incoming damage that's predictable, we can pop Shamanistic Rage and we're going to be fine. We can be a little bit tanky for that period. And it means we're never going to go ever, ever, ever. If you've got this, you're not going to go as an Enhancement Shaman. It's just not possible. Unleashed Rage. A little bit tricky, but a great talent. Increase your expertise by 8. We hate reforging for expertise because it seems like a waste of stats, although it's vital, okay? It seems like a waste of DPS stats. Yeah, it just means I can hit the mob. Well, expertise is always annoying. It's an annoying thing to have as a melee class, is you have to make sure you can hit the mob, and then you need 2 stats for that. You need hit and your expertise. So a flat expertise boost of 8 is a load of rating, guys. 8 expertise is a ton of rating, so you've got to pick it up. It's also going to grant everybody in the raid a 10% attack power. That's fine. That's a great little raid buff, but we want that 8 expertise so we can use our stats elsewhere. Can you imagine my expertise if I didn't have that? I would have 1 expertise on this character. Oh, Maelstrom Weapon. Now we're getting into what turns us into a caster-friendly melee DPS class. When you deal damage with a melee weapon, you have a chance, higher than rank 2, to reduce the cast time and mana cost of your next Lightning Bolt, Chain Lightning, Hex, or any, read that, any healing spell by 20%. Stacks up to 5 times. That's any healing spell, including Healing Rain. A lot of time in raids, Enhancement Shaman are not expected on farm content, but on new content, it is very, very likely as Enhancement Shaman you're going to be dropping Healing Rain on top of the melee. Because you're all bunched up, generally, melee are all grouped up together, and it doesn't cost you anything, whereas Healing Rain is a very expensive spell, especially for raid healers, Restoration Shaman. You could drop it for free, and you have a lot of spell power in general as an Enhancement Shaman, so it's good stuff to keep that down in the melee. You're going to be doing a lot of healing as well. Yes, it's a DPS loss. Face facts, guys, if you can drop a really expensive, good healing spell that heals lots of people at the same time, you're probably going to be casting it. Get with the program. Think about your raid. Feral Spirit, our major DPS cooldown, summon 2 awesome Spirit Wolves. We are going Twilight on this badass. 2 Spirit Wolves under the command of the Shaman, lasting 30 seconds. They will follow around and DPS the crap out of things for you. Good stuff. That's our major DPS cooldown. We're going to be lining that up with our DPS cooldowns, our trinkets, that kind of stuff. Acuity, moving over into the elemental tree because we're going to buff our spell abilities. Increase critical strike chance with all spells by 3%. Good stuff. Concussion, increase the damage of your lightning bolt and chain lightning and shock spells by 4%. Good stuff. We then pick up elemental precision, increase your fire, frost and nature damage by 3%. Yes, it also grants you hit from spirit items. That does not mean you should be wearing intellect mail. don't do it, my friends. Don't do it. Just ignore that part of the spell. You want male agility items that don't have spirit on them. And Call of Flame, this is our AoE ability we want. Our AoE is shocking as an Enhancement Shaman. It's really grim. It really is. Increase the damage done by our fire totems and Fire Nova by 20%. That's why we really want this talent to buff up our Searing totems damage, because that then proceeds to buff up our everything we do, okay, guys? Fire Nova and damage of your Lava Burst spells by 10%. When your Fire Nova damages a target, the duration of your Flame Shock effect is increased by 6 seconds. So when we are AoEing, what we're going to be doing is spreading our Flame Shock amongst all the targets and using Fire Nova to keep that Flame Shock ticking away. Really, really nice. So it does take a few seconds to buff our AoE. You compare that to a DK's Howling Blast, and you think, F you, DK. Takes me a good few seconds to get all those Flame Shots ticking away. That's fine. So those are our talents. Let's look at our glyphs. Nothing major here, guys. Your major one is Glyph of Storm Strike. Increase the crit chance bonus from your Sword Strike by 10%. Glyph of Wind Fury. Increase the chance per swing to smash people in the face more times by 2%. Good stuff. And Lava Lash gets another 20% damage buff. So many huge buffs for Lava Lash, guys. You really got to appreciate how all these things work together and combine to form an ability that is just so powerful. Too powerful in my mind, considering it relies on Searing Totem to be playing fair. It doesn't always play fair. Glyph of Lightning Shield. Your Lightning Shield will never ever reduce, so if you do get attacked by by some mobs, you pull aggro every now and again, it's not going to disappear. That's fine, because you need it for your DPS. Glyph of Fire Nova increases the radius, so if we are AoEing with Glyph of Fire Novaing all the time, we do gentle AoE a few times in our heroics. I personally think this glyph is amazing. Your healing stream also increases fire, frost, and nature resistance of the party members by within 30 yards. Nature mainly. If we've got a major nature boss, we can just keep dropping this totem. Our healing stream is going to be healing people as well as providing them with a buff. Good stuff. That's your glyphs, my friends. So when we're DPSing, what are we doing, Preacher? Well, of course, we're making sure our Searing totem is down at all times. You need Flame Shock on that target to make sure your Searing totem is attacking it. And then we're going to be DPSing. Go on, Searing totem, do your thing. There we go. See, I absolutely hate Searing Totem. We're going to be mixing in a few spells. If you see this buff come up, that means you should fire off your Lightning Bolt. If you're doing AoE, you need to be mixing that in with Chain Lightning, of course. When our Flame Shock needs refreshing, we're going to mix that with Unleash Elements. Okay, guys? Oh, I have no weapon imbues. Awesome. Just throw on a weapon imbue quickly. We're going to be using our Unleash Elements, like that. And then we're going to be Flame Shocking, so we get the benefit of Unleash Elements on our Flame Shock, which is going to be ticking away. Your major cooldown is going to be, of course, Lava Lash. When that stacks up to 5, you want to keep your Storm Strike on cooldown. You want to be using Lava Lash when it stacks to 5. And in between Flame Shocks, you want to be using your Earth Shock. Very easy stuff. As you can see, Lava Lash will, if it doesn't get parried, I should stand behind. Lol. Troll face by me. Refresh our Flame Shock. Keep Storm Strike on cooldown. Keep your Lava Lash on cooldown. Use your Lightning Bolt. Make sure Searing Totem stays. Do that. You can see that Lava Lash reduced. Let's say 2 seconds, 1 second. You got 5 stacks of Searing Totem. Lava Lash is going to use them all, and then it should restack again. Dead easy. Okay, guys. So you want to be unleashing elements every time you go for that Flame Shock. You want to be using Earth Shock in between. You want to use Lava Lash every time you have 5 stacks. That is your number 1 priority. Lava Lash hits like a truck. The least priority is actually your Storm Strike. We basically use it for the buff. It's not a great spell by any means. It's still a nice damaging spell to use, but you've got a lot of things to manage, guys. Make sure you're Searing Totem up. Make sure you can see it clearly, like I can see a nice time of my Searing Totem here. Make sure you're using Lightning Bolt or Chain Lightning when you're AoEing. If we are doing AoE, you want to be spreading that Flame Shock out. Forget your Earth Shock, just keep Flame Shocking away and mixing in Fire Nova. Okay, make sure you have a target done. You can see that the way the Fire Nova goes off there. That's your AoE stuff. I'm going to jump into a heroic now and demonstrate some good jazz for you.